Justin Amash, the congressman from Grand Rapids, on the other end of our line. You ever been afraid to come out with me?
No, Frank, you're fantastic. So thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you for that. That's two great compliments this morning, so that's great. You'd say I'm fantastic, and Hansa Clark says I ask tough questions, so that's a good morning, you know. Listen, I saw the story yesterday before we get into what we want to talk about, that there's been a poll conducted on behalf of the Free Press and WXYZ TV here in Detroit. You're up 20 points despite this campaign to unseat you from within the party out in your district. To what do you attribute this kind of early lead here?
We're working hard. We've built good relationships in the district. I hold lots of town halls. I've explained every vote I take on Facebook, and people like the idea of a congressman who defends liberty, who follows the Constitution, who fights for ordinary Americans. And I'm running against an opponent who's fighting for corporate welfare, who supports Common Core, who supports expanding Obamacare in Michigan. So there's a clear contrast between the candidates, and it's pretty easy to see which one ordinary Americans are going to support.
But I would have thought, with all the money being poured into his campaign and all of the endorsements he's been getting from big names, including Mitt Romney, that you might be in trouble out there in that district.
Well, we've got support from Senator Rand Paul and Senator Ted Cruz and Lieutenant Governor Calley, and the most important support we have is from the people of the district, and the people trust me and know me, and I'll continue to build that trust as I continue to serve the district, and I think that's important. It doesn't matter what kind of false attacks you're getting if you have the people trusting you and understanding that you're a person who's going to be straightforward with them.
Mm-hmm. You know what amazed me is how you've become sort of in just a short period of time as a national politician in Congress, how you've become sort of a role model for people. I know a young man who's running for the state legislature for the first time out in Clarkston. You met him. He was at Sheldon Rose Freedom Dinner. His name is Nate Napper, and when I mentioned to him that you were speaking, and he said, "Boy, I'd love to meet him and hear him speak." I mean, it was amazing to see Nate's eyes light up just at the idea that, boy, I get to meet Justin Amash. I mean, this can't be the first time. Nate Napper can't be the first young would-be politician running for office who's said that kind of thing, or that you've heard that about.
Well, I'm honored that I can make a difference like this. When I got involved, I was hoping that I could set an example and try to change the Republican Party. It wasn't listening to the American people, and there are a lot of young people who want to be Republicans. They want to support our principles, but they see a party that's moved away from our principles, that's representing corporate interests instead of regular people. And I'm trying to change that and show that we can be a Republican Party for the people. And it's something that young people are interested in. They want to support the ideals of limited government and economic freedom and individual liberty, but they haven't had that from the Republican Party in a long time.
You know what? When you go back and look at it, I know you'll realize what this is. This is true liberalism. This is what liberalism originally was in this country, what you just described.
Yeah, classical liberalism, what our founders believed in, was very close to what constitutional conservatives believe in. When I call myself a constitutional conservative, what I'm trying to conserve are the constitutional principles of our founders, and those principles include things like limited government and economic freedom and individual liberty. And so it's something, it's the American tradition, and I'm trying to carry it on.
Do you think we're slowly but surely getting back to that? Was that, I know all politics are local, but when we saw the results down in Virginia, where Eric Cantor was beaten in a race in which nobody ever thought he could lose because of his seat as a House Majority Leader, but he lost touch with his district. Is this a sign of things to come? Is it a sign that incumbents are in trouble this year? What does it say to you, Justin Amash?
I think it's that people are taking back their country. Incumbents who don't pay attention to their districts are in trouble, and we saw that with Eric Cantor. That was a race where he outspent his opponent something like 25-1, and he still lost it. So it's not just about money and resources anymore. My opponent's outspending me in my race, but the fact is he's siding with the wrong people. He's siding with corporate interests and big moneyed people, and I'm siding with regular folks. And people know that. They know the difference. And they're going to stand for the representative who is going to stand up for them.
Mm-hmm. The decision that's got to be made within your party now, Cantor has already said, I'm going to leave my leadership post within the Republican Party, and so John Boehner is looking for a new majority leader to sit beside him as Speaker right now, and everybody is sort of assuming it'll be Majority Whip Kevin McCarthy out of California. Is that a foregone conclusion?
No, it's not a foregone conclusion. My friend Raul Labrador is running for majority leader. He's the other candidate in the race. He's a great man. He came to my district actually last year and spent some time there, and I got to introduce him to the folks back home. He's a principled conservative, a guy who is in touch with the next generation of Republicans. He's fluent in Spanish. There are a lot of things he brings to the table that our current leadership team doesn't have. And most important is that he's going to follow the process. So many people right now in our conference feel left out of the process. They feel like leadership makes decisions and then forces them to go with it, or else they're going to get primaried or they're going to get taken off their committees. We need a leadership team that's working with the entire Republican conference and taking all of our ideas and letting us have votes on these ideas.
Are we going to see a big challenge to John Boehner as well?
It's possible we'll see that in a few months, so possibly in January. I'm a little bit skeptical that will happen because now was probably the best opportunity to challenge this leadership team, and we didn't have enough candidates step up and say they wanted to run for a majority leader, for example. So if that's not going to happen now, I'm a bit skeptical that it'll happen in 6 or 7 months, but we'll see. Anything's possible, and I'm hopeful that down the road we can take a new direction. We all like John Boehner. We like Kevin McCarthy personally, but as far as the way our conference has been structured, our conference of Republicans, we haven't had the leadership we need to make us work together as a team.
Well, Boehner sent you to the woodshed, didn't he?
He did a few years ago, and I have a good relationship with him. Actually, we meet on a regular basis, and I privately chat with him in his office. But it's not about who we like personally. If I were looking for a good friend, and if he were more my age, I would hang out with John Boehner. I think he's a great guy personally. But if you're talking about who should be the leader of the House or leader of Republicans, he's probably not best suited to it.
And Raul Labrador, where's he from? He's from out west somewhere, isn't he? Utah?
He's from Idaho.
Idaho.
So he was born in Puerto Rico and moved to the mainland, and he's has a lot of skills. You'll see him on Meet the Press, and he does a lot of TV. He's fantastic.
Beautiful. Well, we'll look for what happens here and follow him closely. We appreciate the time this morning. Thanks as always for coming on.
Thanks so much, Frank.
All right, take care now. That's Justin Amash, the congressman.